Now we've got some equations regarding logarithms. So here we are asked to find the value of x, in which log 4 to the base 16 is equal to x. How will we do this? The way on how we can do this is, first of all, we need to make sure that we remove the log, because we are finding the value of x. So I will first move the 16 to the other side of the equation so that the log is removed. If you aren't really understanding this, you can write it in this form, is equal to x. So I'm moving the 16 to the other side of the equation, so my log goes away. So I have 4 is equal to 16 power x. Now 16 can be represented in terms of powers of 4, because 4 squared is equal to 16. Therefore 16 power a half is equal to 4. This is the same as square root of 16 power 1, which is equal to 4. So 16 is equal to 4 squared. So 4 is equal to 4 to the power of 2 power x. And another formula which we had learned is, if you have a power raised to another power, then you have to multiply the powers out. So 4 is equal to 4 to the power of 2x. This is the same as 4 power 1, because 4 power 1 is just 4. So just by comparing the two sides of the equation, since my a, or the bases of the exponents, are the same, I can have 1 is equal to 2x. Therefore x is equal to a half. So log 4 to the base of 16 is actually equal to a half. We have another question here. Log 1 to the base of b is equal to x, and we have to solve for x. Now we have two unknowns here, which are b and x, so we need to try to find a way on eliminating b so that we are left with x. Therefore we can solve for the value of x. So how do we do this? Again, we need to make sure that the log is removed, because we are actually solving for the value of something. So how do we do this? We can make sure that the b goes to the other side of the equation, so the log is removed. So 1 is equal to b to the power of x. I have moved the b to the other side of the equation, and whatever is on this side of the equation becomes the power of b. So 1 is equal to b to the power of x. Now how can we solve two unknowns and we are just given one equation? But now we need to realize one thing. We need to realize that any number to the power of 0 is equal to 1. A to the power of 0 is equal to 1. This law was discussed in a previous video on exponents. You can check that out. So a to the power of 0 is equal to 1. 5 power 0 is equal to 1. 250 power 0 is equal to 1. Any number power 0 is equal to 1. So let b be anything. Let b become anything. Therefore, if b is anything, we can get an answer for x. So x will be 0, because b power 0 is equal to 1. b can be anything. 5, 250, 3000. 3000 power 0 is equal to 1. Any number to the power of 0 is equal to 1. Therefore, for this question, x is equal to 0. We need to find the value of x in log x to the base 7 is equal to 2. How will we do this? This is very simple. Basically, we need to make x the subject of on one side. So we need to first of all start by removing the log. So how do we do this? We move this 7 to the other side of the equation. So we are left with x on the left hand side of the equation is equal to 7 to the power of 2, because whatever is on the right hand side of the equation becomes the power of the base of the log. So x is equal to 7 power 2. X is equal to 49. So that's a very simple question. So we're able to solve that just by moving the 7 to the other side of the equation and making that a power to get the value of x. Log 32 base x is equal to 5 over 2. How will we do this? The first method, as we always discussed, is first we need to remove the log sign. So we have to remove the log sign by moving this x. Move this x to the other side of the equation. Therefore, we are left with 32 on the left hand side of the equation is equal to x to the power of 5 over 2, because 5 over 2 is on the right hand side of the equation. Now, how do we solve this? One way on how we can solve this is actually by taking powers on both sides. So what I mean by this is we have 32 is equal to x to the power of 5 over 2. That I'm just copying this. Now what if I do this to the power of 2 over 5? Sorry. If I do this to the power of 2 over 5. Because we realized that if you have one number power something and you power that of another number, you're actually going to be multiplying these two things out. So if I multiply these two things out, I'll get 5 over 2 times 2 over 5, which is equal to 1. Why am I doing this? So that I can make x on one side of the equation, because I'm finding x. So this becomes x to the power of 1, which is x. That's why I multiplied this by its reciprocal. Its reciprocal is basically its upside down form. So here 2 is the denominator, but here 2 is the numerator. Here 5 is the numerator, 5 is the denominator here. So when I multiply them out, I get 1, and from there I get x to the power of 1, which is equal to x. That's why I took this to the power of 2 over 5. Now because I took this to the power of 2 over 5 on the right hand side of the equation, I need to do the same with the left hand side of the equation. Therefore I have to take 32 to the power of 2 over 5. That's why I hope now you're understanding as to why I took this to the power of 2 over 5. So let's solve this. 32 to the power of 2 over 5. From our previous videos on exponents, we learned that if you have this, a number, to the power of a fraction, b over m, just suppose, the denominator will be the degree of the root. So it's gonna be the mth root of a power the numerator. That's one law which we had learnt in the previous videos. If you are not very familiar with that, you can just familiarize yourself by looking at the previous videos. So how do we do 32 power 2 over 5? This is the same as the fifth root of 32, because 5 is the denominator, and the whole thing, the result, squared, because 2 is the numerator. What is the fifth root of 32? Any number times itself 5 times, giving us 32. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is equal to 32. 2 times itself 5 times is equal to 32. Therefore the fifth root of 32 is equal to 2. So that is equal to 2, and then now we are squaring it. So 2 squared, which is equal to 4. Therefore our answer to this question, log 32 base x is equal to 5 over 2, gives our value of x as 4, because 4 is 32 power 2 over 5, and that is equal to x. So since 4 is equal to x, we just know that x is equal to 4. Therefore our answer is x is equal to 4.